Hey, so today we have come to our second learning outcome. So in our previous tutorial, we spoke about type of ICT technologies, ICT skills that are required in the health and social care sector. So we looked into some of the machineries and how hospital management is done. So what did I share the video recording with you guys is available on the on Zoom and on our group chat. So from today, indicative content, we're going to look into computer systems. So we're going to define all these type of personal computers, such as laptops, notebooks, smartphones, any type of IoT devices such as Alexa, or for instance, smartwatches or tablets. And then we're going to use the environment. So we'll look into type of manufacturing, how these are going to be produced, and what are the purpose, if they're going to be used at home, office, leisure, retail, or any sort of sector. And conclusively, we're going to analyze the type of personal use. So what this unit aim, our unit will now aim to introduce the learner to the basic hardware and software components that will now make up computer systems. And for all the learners, we now have to carry out basic installation and configuration. So this unit is now designed to assist learner to understand the basic components of computer system and how they are adapted to individual needs. So what do we mean by computer system? As we said, computer system is simply the combination between hardware component and software components. So what do we mean by hardware? Hardware are just all these physical devices which are tangible, which can be touched or used by us, such as headphones, photocopier, mouse, keyboard, monitors, and all these physical components. While software, we're just looking into the programming part of our computers, such as our motherboard, CPU, and so on. So I have a really nice video which will give us a quick understanding of type of computers. So let's just watch this video. I apologize for the PC, but it's running a bit slow. So let's just give it a bit of time.
Computers are classified into many types based upon their size and speed. The fastest and most expensive computers are supercomputers. They are large and have multiple CPUs, so can handle many instructions in parallel. They are used for complex calculations such as weather forecasting, nuclear science, rocket launching, etc. Some examples of supercomputers are Summit, Sierra, Deep Blue, and Param made by CDAC in India. Next are mainframe computers. They are designed to handle huge volumes of data and information. While supercomputers are typically focused to perform few critical tasks, mainframes perform multiple instructions in parallel for multiple users. They also have multiple processors, hence are fast and expensive. They are typically used by large organizations for bulk data processing. Some examples are IBM Z UNIVAC, etc. Mini computers are also called as mid-range servers. They lie somewhere between mainframe and microcomputers. They are typically multi-user systems and have more memory and larger storage capacity than microcomputers. They are used as web servers, database servers, gaming servers. Examples are Magnum, VAX, etc. Microcomputers typically are single CPU, single user systems used at home, office, school, shops. They are further categorized as personal computers, workstations, laptops, mobiles, embedded computers. The personal or desktop PCs are the most common computers with monitor, keyboard, and mouse, typically kept on a desk. They are used for browsing or gaming, learning, and small business use. Workstations are like desktop computers but have more powerful CPU with higher memory and processing powers. They are more expensive and are used for doing some niche work like designing, animation, and complex mathematical calculations. Laptops are portable computers which integrate all components of a computer into the size of a notebook. Hence, they are also sometimes called as notebook computers. Today we have smartphones and touchscreen tablets which can easily be carried anywhere. While they were initially meant for limited capability, but now they are used for gaming, video, and high-end cameras. Many of the devices today have an embedded small computer like smart TVs, watches, cars, microwaves. They are typically programmed to perform some set tasks required as per the device.
Okay, so the video gave us an overview of type of computers that we can find out there. So as the video said, he mentioned supercomputers, which allows programmers to work faster and process a high quantum volume of material. So these are also called quantum computers. And these supercomputers are also very expensive, and they just used through large organizations. Then we have mainframe computers, which are used such as remote servers, and these are high. They have high capacity because they're going to store loads of information that are shared across different users. So these are going to use in massive enterprises such as maybe IBM, Amazon, or Google, or these big companies. Then coming down to maybe a medium-sized or small business, we now have workstation computers, where are now used for highly productivity, and they're still relevant, expensive, relatively expensive due to the nature of the business or the purpose of using them. Now, also we have another category. So we have personal computers, such as laptops or desktop computers. And there are many type of brand which produce this type of personal computers. The most known are Windows operating system, and Mac, which is built from Apple Macintosh. And also we do have Linux operating system, which is used more for cybersecurity and any type of network security. So as we all know, our computer system is just for combination. Sorry. Hello. Yeah, so as I was saying, our computer system is just a simple combination between hardware components and software components. So how do we assemble these computers? What we need to know that in our computer will now have a motherboard, which some people also call it the brain of our computer, because in the motherboard we can now connect every type of, or we can now connect everything, such as the CPU, central process unit. We can now have peripheral for input and output devices, and we can now connect graphic cards and sound cards and any type of hard drive that we might need. So moving on, we have CPU, which is a central process unit, and it allows the computer to have an interaction with the human. So whenever we are writing maybe a code, or we're going to have some sort of interaction with our application, the computer will now send information, which will be from English language, and will now be converted into programming language, which is just a combination of 1 and 0. And all these combination, this calculation can now be done through our CPU. Once this is now done, it will now be sent back to as an output. So we now have something displayed into our computer. And also some important computer component are RAM, which is a random access memory, and it allows us to access data as quickly as possible. So that memory is volatile, which means that once we switch off the PC, all that data will now be lost. And then we have storage, which is our ROM, and it is basically the storage where we're going to store application files, videos, or whatever we need to store. And now we're going to look into the role of a computer system in different environments. So as we know, depending on which sector we are working or we are dealing with, we now have a different role for our computer system. So when it comes to enterprises, we now know that we now need to work with massive mainframes. Say, for instance, we work for Amazon or Facebook. We now have these remote servers, which allows us to store all this data. When it comes to educational purpose, computers are now used for learning. So they will now have some security measures, which allows the student to access the computers and use the resources in a relevant way. Then we have home use, which it simply allows everyone to do their own day-to-day activity. So, for instance, you just using it for leisure, such as browsing Netflix or watching YouTube. So, these type of computers will not require you to have some, I don't know, some powerful CPU or some heavier amount of RAM. Also, as I mentioned, home can really go along with entertainment, where these PCs are just simply used to entertain and use on the spare time. So we do have a range of computer systems, such as personal use, mobile phone, tablets, or even IoT devices, such as smartwatches, Alexa, all these type of gadgets. Now we're going to look into, so we have differentiate type of operating system, where we have Windows, Mac, and Linux, which are the three major ones. And when it comes to software application, there are most of our computer comes with predefined applications already installed into our computers, and these applications will now allow us to work on different type of activities. Say, for instance, we now, as an education institution, we are required to work with Word. We now be required to have some skills, some understanding of how to use Word and what are the benefits of using Word. So most of the time, Word will be used for assignments or reporting, or even to document some important stuff. Then we have Excel spreadsheet, which allows to store data and do relevant analysis. So there are loads of formulas that which will allow us to do any sort of calculation that we want, and all this can be done through Microsoft Excel. Then we also have database management system, which is done with Microsoft Access, and which it is pretty much an old system. Now there are tons of software which will allow a faster deployment of DBMS. And what a database does is just simply going to store in a structured way all this data that we have now collected. Then we have Microsoft Outlook, which allows us emailing system. And as we all know, emailing is just a simple way to communicate with other people. So it is considered as a formal way of messaging. And therefore, you need some sort of configurations which will allow us to send this message. So, for instance, we working with Outlook or Gmail, we now need our email address, and this email address can be done through some sort of configuration. So this was pretty much what we need to know in how to integrate a range of software application. So most of our computer comes with predefined application, but then there are loads of more applications that can be downloaded online, such as Zoom, which is one of the apps that we are already using right now. And we all know that there are many apps that have been used, that are going to be used in our day-to-day activities. So moving on now, we're going to look into our activity. And this activity, we have a couple of tasks. So as we can see here, we have task number 1, where you have a friend who wishes to buy a computer system for use at home. They tend to use it for social networking, playing games, helping children with homework, and other general household uses. So they are not sure what they want, and they are confused by adverts for PCs with the jargon and the variety of input, output, and storage devices that are available. So now you decide to write a guide to buy a computer system to help them. So in this guide, you must contain the following section. So number 1, the main component of a PC and their function. including external and internal components. So the different type of software needed and the use. This must include system and application softwares. Then we'll have a summary of input and output devices, which will be at least 8, and output devices has to be at least 3, with a brief description of how they work and when they could be used, including the benefit of the use. Then number 4, we're going to have a comparison of at least 4 storage devices with the appropriate use. And then number 5, we'll have a range of 2 PC, which are currently available that might be suitable for your friend, with explanation of any jargon and the key terms. Then 2 PCs, and then these 2 PCs should be compared and assessed for suitability with reference to the performance. So this task number 1, it is, were you able to see the screen? Martina, were you able to see the screen? Hello? Hello, Martina, were you able to see the screen? Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so from task number 1, we are required to main component. Main component number 1 is motherboard. Now CPU type. Operate. So let's just look into this. Let's just analyze these ones right now. So if we go into company like Dell, this will give us a overview of type of PC that we're looking for. So say for instance, we're looking for a laptop. Here we can now see the filter option, which allows us to see some of the most important features. So there are, from our filter option, we can go through model. Our consideration is going to be maybe model. And other things we have to consider is maybe screen size. Then the processor, as we said, would be Intel. What the type of processor, such as AMD. Depending on what type of central process unit you're looking for, you will now choose. Then there are also different generations for this type of processor. The operating system, as we said, you have to choose between Windows, Mac, Linux. So this will be also another important thing to consider could be Type. Laptop. The desktop. While for our random access memory, we're going to look into type of memory. And so on. Look into price. This is a really important factor depending on your budget. So I would say could move, just move this one here. Okay, so I think this is what we need to know for our number one task. So we need to look into the type. First of all, if we're looking for laptop, notebook, or desktop, operating system. So for instance, we're on Dell. Dell just sells Windows operating system. Then we look into the model that we need to purchase because they all differentiate. So you can also compare them with this Dell website. You have even the option to compare them. Shipping, so maybe size of the monitor. You could put, I don't know, 18-inch, 14-inch, 16. Etc. Then processor, as I mentioned, could be Intel or AMD, depending on the version you wanna work with. Then we have RAM, which is random access memory. And also we need to look into the ROM, which is our storage, 256 or 512, maybe 1 terabyte, etc. So as I said, we calculated this in a gigabyte. So this can be a good explanation. And then there are other things we can now consider, such as graphic card, screen resolution. Yeah. screen resolution. We can do for Ultra HD, 4K LED, 3 LED. So there are many type of resolution. And we have also graphic cards, color options, also based on rating, mobile broadband capability, and so on. So I'll say this is with this we have covered number one, which is a main computer component and the function, including external components. Not actually. So when it comes to the main component, this is the best way for us to go through and understand which one could be a good purchase. So maybe this can be related to number 2, number 4, and 5. While when it comes to number 1, so we'll go this one down. Number 1, we now components. Now we need to look into motherboard, CPU, processor. Then we have pretty much what we covered. And then we'll now have input and output device here. Monitor. Okay, so we covered we've covered the main components, and you now have to look into the function of these. Then number 2 is different type of software needed and they use. So we've made an example of Outlook applications, such as this application could be Word, Excel, and many others. So here we have applications. Some of them might come as default, while other ones you might have to purchase them. Some other applications might be something like Zoom, and many other type. Task 2. Then we have task 3. So summary of input devices. So you mentioned with our monitor. People, because, etc. We have comparison. So there are various types of storage. As we mentioned, we have so here, what do we have? A comparison of at least for storage. So what do we mean by this comparison? This could be a drive. Okay, so I think we'll now cover task number 1, where we have main components. So you guys can go in more details and maybe search what are computer components, what is the computers based off. Then we have some applications. So some of them come as default, which you can have already pre-installed, and all of them you can now download them depending on the reason why you need this software. Then here we have a summary of input and output devices. So some of them, as I mentioned, can be used as input, other ones can be used as output. Then there is a comparison of, have a comparison of these storage devices. So I mentioned hard drive, pen drive, and there are so many on. Then task number 5, which is going to be simply a review of 2 currently available PC. So these are most of the things that you need to take consideration of when it comes for you to choose a good PC. Yeah, so I think this is all you need to know. This is not all. So as I said, this is just a benchmark. So it's just a starting point for you to do your own research and learn more in detail. So I can save these and share with you on the chat. Okay. If I go back to you upload document, could I? Yeah. So if you guys check the chat now, I've made this available with you. So this is now being dropped in the chat. And what we've done now, we have covered pretty much that's number one. So I think this has been covered. Is there any question for me? Martina, Soleil?
Yeah.
Yeah. So from our activity, which is task number one, you say you have to make a guide with the most, which must contain this following section. So I've done 5 of them, and I pasted this document on our chat. So if you open the chat, you can see this document. Can you see it?
I don't think it's on WhatsApp, it's just on the chat. How are we gonna download it?
There's not given option to download it.
It's not coming on. All right, I'll go one. Yeah.
So this, Martina, will be a good practice for you to learn more about, this ICT. You can now do this activity number 1. If you feel like if you have any issue doing it, just you can contact me. You can give me a phone call or drop me an email. Is there any other question? Is there any question for me?
Is the assignment you're gonna put on the model?
Yes.
All right.
Available.
Do I need to do it again, Victor?
No, so that you've already completed this.
All right.
This is for the new student who just joined, like Martina.
Okay.
Martina, is there any question?
No, please, can you send the video to my WhatsApp or email, please?
Yeah, this video is recorded. I'm gonna put on the group chat.
Where did you say you are going to put it?
On the group chat.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, we are going to do assignment for this.
Yeah, this that we just covered now was activity. Well, the assignment, I will introduce it in our last session. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
You too.